Hi beautiful ones, it's Becky again with Great Transformations, your personal transformation consultant, and I am back for Messages from the Heart Volume 3. Last week we talked about moving beyond your comfort zone and life beginning beyond our comfort zone, and I shared that I was going to be kite surfing and some of my fears and anxiety and just the beyondness of my comfort zone about that, and I am reporting back that I did it! I at least did part one. I was still on the sand. Next week I move into the water on a board with the giant kite, but I at least did the first step, and I am just so many emotions go on around that. It was kind of scary still. The day before, I realized that there was a lot of fear still inside, and that level of stress that ran through me was really wreaking havoc on me. And I found that I needed to go ahead and express that stress. I was reminded about even just the simplest stress that we feel in our lives. If we don't face it and acknowledge it and then love it, can really just wreak havoc. I started to feel really down around it. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling all sorts of emotions, and I'm sure you can relate. And I at least was able to address it and give it a voice and see it for what it was, and then love that part of me, because that really just shows that I'm moving in the right direction when we feel that kind of stress. In fact, the day of the kite surfing lesson, I found myself feeling like I was getting sick. I started to get a sore throat, I had a headache, my neck hurt. All of these things started coming up that were wanting to keep me down, keep me back to where I was rather than moving forward. And I just remembered what I shared, that I don't need to buy into these thoughts. I can go out and find out what I really think about it by doing it, rather than sitting in my head and not doing it. And I know I've spent nearly an entire lifetime doing those types of things, and so it was really felt exhilarating for me to go ahead and move beyond my old past patterns and just step into something new. I started with the trainer kite, which is like a giant canopy kite that we work with, that was really fast and really strong and really powerful. And I just started to learn to control the kite, a lot of muscle memory practice, and I get to go beyond my instincts of how to do things. When it starts to feel like it's going out of control, we tend to want to just turn it like a car wheel, because that's what I know how to drive, but it's actually one where we push and pull rather than twist and turn. And it crashed many a time. And the power beyond it, I mean, even the small kite was moving me forward. So I learned how to find some control of the kite. And I remember there was a moment where I was like, okay, I've got this down. I can at least hold it. There's a neutral grace zone that you have in flying the kite, where there's not as much power, but when we twist and turn, it kind of picks up this energy pocket. And it can either move you forward or you crash and burn. And it was reminding me so much of life when we get these bursts of inspiration and we just jump in. It's great to jump in, and sometimes we just have to learn how to harness and be with that power that we have, and not force it, not overreact, and not overcompensate, and just really feel the rhythms in our body and how to move forward. But there was a point where I had to let go of the bar with one hand to untwist the string. And I was standing there and trying to let go. It was like I was like, I've done enough already. I've got the kite up, I'm flying it, and now you want me to let go? Surrender and let go? And it was so hard to get my hand to loosen and to just let go. But I was able to do that too, and that felt awesome. That moment where, like, I'm willing my body to move, I'm willing my hand to move, and it just does not want to cooperate. And somehow I got it to let go and twist it. And then I got moved into doing the giant canopy kite. And that was harnessed on me, strapped in around my core. I mean, this thing was huge, and I was sharing my lesson with a male who was almost twice the size of me, and so we had to compromise on our kite size, and it was one that was slightly more powerful for me and just under full powered for him. So it was fun trying to figure out how to maneuver that, and I went ahead and just jumped in. I kept asking to go first because if I waited and watched, I kept worrying that I was going to chicken out. But I strapped it on, and let me tell you, my butt saw more sand dragon, 30 feet, a groove, a trough across the sand, because, again, instinct when I feel out of control is to pull back. I mean, how many times have we done that when we start to do something and we feel like we're losing control and we just want to pull back? And the weird thing is with the kite, when I pull back, that opens the kite up to being in full power mode, full throttle. So all I was doing was adding more gas and just went flying. But I just kept falling down, getting tossed around. That's my dog for you. And kept going. And there was a point where I was kind of skiing along the sand on my feet and kind of sand surfing or sand skiing, and I recognized that I was actually having a lot of fun, and it was just knowing that I could do it was awesome. And then, I don't know about you, but when I push beyond my comfort zone and I feel that really big high of doing something, and I just blew past so much. This week following has been really challenging for me. That high was so high, and then I come back to my neutral, and just all sorts of old stuff has been coming up. It's almost as if this previous version of myself has been wanting to usurp control again, and I've been confronting things that I haven't had to deal with in a really long time. You know, my body's sore, my tailbone is sore. When I talked last week about getting off our butts and our butt getting sore, oh lordy. I sit down and it's like, ow! But this week, I don't know how to describe this. It's been challenging. It's like the ups were up and the downs had to match equally how high the ups were. And I realized that in those moments my mind wants to tell me to stop, that what I did was a bad thing, that pushing myself forward is a bad thing, that it's painful, that I've done something wrong. And it's been hard to accept the down part. It's been getting a little emotional about it, but just sitting through the growth and the growing pains can seem really challenging and almost want to make me chalk it up to that it wasn't worth it. And I know it was. So I guess I just want to share that sometimes when we grow and change, we may have the underbelly of us exposed, that's showing us all the other areas that get to come up that we have unearthed by pushing ourselves so far out there, and that those parts of us can be loved and accepted and brought into the light for more healing as well. I hope that makes sense. I wonder if you can relate. I mean, have you ever done anything where you just have this high and this like exhilaration, and once that moment's over, you're left with who you were before and those other parts that maybe feeling down or depressed or tired or overwhelmed or scared of the changes that you've already done, or this part in you clamoring to say, put me back where it was, don't make me go any further, we were comfortable where we were. I'd love to know and hear. So that's it for this week. I will let you know how next week goes with being on the water as well. Again, there's a part of me now that I've done this first part that I don't know if I want to do it again because my body's really sore and I don't want that to stop me. So I'm still going to go out there and do it. And again, I may not do it again after this, but at least I've done it. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week with more to report. And just keep growing, just keep loving, and just keep being your beautiful self. And don't forget to check me out at greattransformations.net, and I'm supporting you. Bye.